What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today's video, we are here with our first all-22 look at this Lions-Chargers game. And today, we're going to start on the offensive side of the ball. Now, before we get into this is a complete side note, but this just popped up. Literally, my phone just went off, right? I started recording an intro, and then I stopped because my phone was making some noises. I'm like, hold up, let me check, see what's going on. I'll restart that intro. And it come to realize that this is what is happening. All right? What we're seeing right there is apparently Jameson Williams took a McDonald's cheeseburger. By the way, that looks fire, dog. I ain't even gonna lie, that looks fire, dog. Is that a double cheeseburger? My guy got a double cheeseburger? He did. It is a double cheeseburger. But he put the McFlurry on the cheeseburger. I love Oreo McFlurries as well, but putting it on the cheeseburger? Look, maybe he's trying to bulk up. That could be the thing. Hey, I get it. Maybe you, hold up. Maybe if I start dropping some McFlurries on, I don't know. All right, maybe this is fire. I'm going to doubt it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do this because what I like about cheeseburgers is they're warm, right? But if I drop that thing on there, I'm going to be like, ooh, that was cold. My teeth are going to be cold. Okay, let's not go down that road. The point is, there is really no point to that. There is not. I don't know. Let me know. Is that fire? Hey, fries and ice cream, fire. That, hey, okay, hey, maybe he's dipping the fries. This was an action-packed game for the Lions offensively, really for the Chargers as well. We'll dive into the defense next. I'm excited to watch that side of the ball. But offensively in this one, we scored 41 points. So there's a lot of things to take a look at. I did my best to limit it, but at the same time, a lot of clips on here I'm going to go through very quickly just to save some time because I do have a pretty good amount of clips. So some of them I won't point out everything that I'm seeing on the play. Maybe just like, hey, look at what this player is doing here. And then, of course, there was maybe a successive play or maybe it wasn't a great play, but you could see what the Lions were trying to do. There was a lot of running the same play multiple times, setting up defensively with a counter off of something that they would have already ran or already shown offensively. There were adjustments that took place from both sides in the second half. Chargers started to get really aggressive with their safety. Lions had answers for that. And there were really three things that stood out to me about the Lions offense. So we're going to hit on these three things as we go through these clips. First one, timing, specifically in the passing game. We talked about how well this offensive line did. They were really good, especially run blocking, but also in pass protection. However, one thing that I will say about the offensive line in this game is that they were also helped out by, yes, schematically, what the Lions did with their tight ends, but at the same time, the timing within the passing game, the ability to get the ball out consistently on the first read. I mean, the ball was coming out quick from Goff. It led to really accurate Jared Goff, but also at the same time, man, it kept us on top of everything. Even third downs, that ball was getting out quickly. So the timing, offensively passing the football, was outstanding from the Lions in this game. That's the first thing. Second thing would be the run game. Of course, it was impressive. From a schematic standpoint, the Lions came in with a great game plan, and then also what they just did. What the offense line did, I have a lot of clips from it in this game, was super impressive. They won the battle up front. They took it to the Chargers, and they showed like, yo, we're legit. We're healthy now. Graham Glasgow, Frank Ragnow, Jonah Jackson, Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, we're going to hold it down. And then finally, Amon-Ra St. Brown. St. Brown's ability to be as versatile as he is to play on the outside when we find matchups out there early in the game. In the second half, for St. Brown to consistently give us answers, not every time, but for the most part, especially in the second half, and on the first half, playing on the outside, getting some of the wide alignments, taking the wide cornerback, that was another standout part of this game. So with all that being said, let's dive into it. Let's show some specific clips from this game. Because I just said all of those things about the Lions offensive line, we might as well start with one of those plays. Now here you can see defensively, and we talked about them matching personnel. There were times defensively which they did match the personnel that we put offensively in terms of how many tight ends we would put on the field. But there were also other times in this game where they would not match personnel defensively. It was interesting. They would go to defensive backs, which we've seen in the past. A lot of times LA Chargers, they don't consistently match what you put out there offensively, tight end for linebacker. They'll put defensive backs, a third safety onto the field. And here early in the game, you can see the Lions are going to go three tight ends. Brock Wright, James Mitchell, Sam Laporte, a 13 personnel look offensively. And defensively, you're getting kind of this five-man front, 3-4 look from the LA Chargers. You got two guys in wide alignment, stand up, but they're on the line of scrimmage, as well as three down defensive linemen, two off-ball linebackers. Another adjustment we started to see in the second half, speaking of personnel, is one off-ball linebacker. We got five-man fronts, one off-ball linebacker. We started to see some of that as well. But here was a key in this game, and the Lions came in with this approach early. They stuck to it, and man, it yielded really good results for them. And that was utilizing, and we've seen this earlier this season where it really kind of popped up, double teaming edge defenders like this, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, with the tight end on the play, utilizing fast motion. That way on the play that it's not, balanced, okay, which side is this a strong side? You fast motion in pre-snap, so you snap it like a jet look for that tight end. Then he gets to the other side. It kind of flips where the strong side of the field is because you're still going to run that direction. Yet this lead blocker is going to go double team that edge on the play. In this case, that's Joey Bosa. And defensively, obviously, you can all see they're in very wide alignments. The Lions were also using some of these inside slot alignments, not necessarily like a tight end, but an inside slot here, like with Laporta, to pull the edge defenders out of the play. You get that motion, fast motion across, and they're going to go down, they're going to double team Joey Bosa. And they did a really nice job of really taking those guys out for the most part, outside of a few plays of the game, run defensively. And as we knew kind of coming into this, their strengths at the run defense, the stats were good. One of the better run defenses, top 10 in a lot of statistical categories, yards per carry, yards per game allowed. But where they aren't great on paper is the interior defensive line. The edge defenders are really good. Khalil Mack, Thule, Joey Bosa. But in the interior, it's not the same. And for the Lions, one way they attacked that was going straight at it, double teaming the edge rusher like this, and then saying we got to win that battle up front. So here you get that toss look, but zone blocking scheme. Notice the offensive line getting movement here. Frank Ragnow was awesome in this game. Penei Sewell was awesome in this game. A lot of guys blocked really well. Look at Frank Ragnow on Nick Williams, the former Detroit Lions, their nose tackle, just driving him out of the play. The push, the movement that the Lions are getting here. Penei Sewell working on a 4 technique on this play. Sebastian Joseph Day gets some help there from Graham Glasgow. I mean, just driving that guy out of the play and just getting great movement down the field. This one was shown pretty well in the broadcast, so we won't spend a lot of time here. But really, this is just one of their staples, which is a cover 6 look. They love to play 2 high safeties pre-snap. Now, the second half, we started to see them roll post-snap, but also they started just at times to put 1 safety in the box. The issue with that is you're going to get singled up on the outside. Unless that safety that's in the box is going to drop out, which they were showing at times in the second half, if you're leaving a safety in the box, specifically pre-snap, you know that you got singled up receivers on the outside. But what they love to do is play 2 high looks pre-snap. However, one thing that I thought coming into this game was that they could be a tad predictable, specifically when they went into cover 6 looks. Here you can see to the boundary side, they're going to go quarters coverage. You have a running back, you have a receiver on that side. Now, the edge defender is going to drop out to deal with Jahmyr Gibbs on this play, but really the key is this, that inside slot here, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to run a deep post route, and he's going to be wide open. You can see their other edge defender is way out here in the slot, right, playing the outside slot receiver, and that's something the Lions do a pretty good job of taking advantage of as well, but that's really the key here, the coverage that they're in. You can see Goff read it, running backs leaks out in the backfield, Joey Bosa is over there to pick it up. They shifted their underneath coverage towards the 3 receiver side, that 3-by-1 look. They shifted that direction. It made sense because they also had Joey Bosa dropping out to take away the back. So a lot of things underneath weren't really open here, but the key was this. Derwin James drives down to take away the dig route, and as soon as he does that, the timing. We talked about timing. So this may be not technically the first read, but there's not a lot to this beyond the first read. Secondly, they're only bringing 3 rushers, so that's why it helps us have a really good pocket here because both their edge defender, who's way out here in the slot, and Joey Bosa dropping out, it gives us a lot of time in the pocket. But this thing is getting out quickly, right? First guy's not there, bam, don't like it, and as soon as you see that safety dive down, Goff immediately hitches, finds St. Brown deep over the middle of the field. The timing's on point, the ball's on point, drops it on the bucket. St. Brown's taken off for a huge play. The one thing that could have helped him here would have been this outside cornerback. We've seen this. Cam Sutton did this well a couple weeks ago, where when this dig route happens, if he can pass that off to Derwin James and then drop out and get over top, maybe he can be a little bit helpful for you here, kind of jumping into that passing lane. Notice with the timing here, St. Brown really doesn't begin to break into that post route until the dig route starts to happen and the corner and safety both dive. Then he breaks over top. So the timing wise, it wasn't like St. Brown was already crossing behind those 2 players and then the dig route happened so that they could drop out. But again, with the timing of the offense on this play, to see that dig route, bam, there, hold it with his eyes, and then immediately hitch and transition. And once he hitches and transitions to find the post route, he's already getting the ball out of his hands, right? There's not much of a delay there, so no really chance to drop out and make a play on this ball. I want to quickly jump in here to talk a little bit about a frustration that all of us sports fans have to go through. We're looking to get tickets to that sporting event, and whether it is a sporting event, maybe you want to go see the Detroit Lions and making their playoff push, or you're trying to go to a comedy event, a theater event, maybe you want to go to listen to some music live, you shouldn't have to deal with the frustrations of not knowing what the view is going to look like from your seat, or not knowing that all all these hidden fees were going to pop up once you clicked on the ticket to go check out. You're going to have to worry when you are buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Killer last minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. I know multiple people that have used my code DOSE and have went to sporting events this year, including myself, who went to the Carolina Panthers game and getting a front row view from the second level at Ford Field. Man, it was money. But I knew exactly what I was getting myself into when I bought those tickets because of the view from your seat. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. I knew what the view was going to look like from my seat when I arrived. I didn't have to wait to click on checkout and then I see all these fees pop up and I thought it was run price, but it was another because they have an all-in pricing option. Now, next time that I go and look to buy tickets to another big event, I can purchase those tickets in 2 taps now that I have set up my account. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DOSE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DOSE, DOSE, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. This is the little things that I love within the Lions offense. It's the little crafty things that they do to utilize, okay, you want to pass off linebackers, right, in man coverage defensively, that's fine. But they do these little things always to set up teams offensively. But then you also take advantage of Amon-Ra St. Brown on this play. First thing you do is you motion across. So you motion across your tight end. But really the key here is this. When the Lions motion across Sam Laporta pre-snap, that shifts everybody defensively and who has who. So number 36 here, Taylor, their slot cornerback, is now shifted on to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's in that inside slot. So you do see that Thule is still across from St. Brown, and here's where the key. So now they've all switched matchups, okay? So you have him on the inside slot, you have an outside corner who has Josh Reynolds on the play, and then of course you would have to have someone for the running back. But here's really the key here. So watch St. Brown. St. Brown doesn't run an immediate route. He dives down to kind of chip block Thule on this play, and that sets up the play action and then the rollout off of it to really chip and kind of pin down Thule on this play. And that coincides with the timing of the beneath route they run. So they bring out Sam Laporta pre-snap, and then at the snap, Sam Laporta runs a beneath route. Those are always difficult to deal with, but again, they pass off everything as linebackers here. So now you run the beneath route. Okay, that's fine. This guy has St. Brown still. Now you see the beneath route coming. So now Jahmyr Gibbs has went to the opposite side of the field because of the play fake. So if the linebacker had Jahmyr Gibbs, now he sees the beneath route. So he's like, okay, I'm going to go take that route away. So he starts to run out there. Here's where the issue comes into play. So Thule has Amon-Ra St. Brown on the play, on the ball, because he sits in to chip, but then it's late because here you can see as he crosses the face of Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown just basically spots up to catch this football. And you can see the slot cornerback, Taylor, on this play does not stick with Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's with him originally, then he sees the beneath route coming across the face, and he slides over there to step roll over and take it away. Notice, why is Taylor, number 36, sitting so far outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown at the snap on that outside leverage? It's because, again, they switch everything off underneath and they match up when they hit their zone. So for him, if he's sitting on the outside and he sees that beneath route and St. Brown's sitting in the block, he's going to go take the beneath route. What really causes the issue here is because he follows that, which makes sense because it gets into more of his zone area. The issue is Eric Kendricks also follows that beneath route as well, who he has now switched on to. But he doesn't see Amon-Ra St. Brown, who in perfect, theory, you would have Taylor take the beneath route, and then all of a sudden Eric Kendricks would see St. Brown and sit down with St. Brown. He doesn't even see St. Brown sitting in there chipping and then just breaking off. So they all start chasing, and that's where the Lions, one example, take advantage of them switching everything that matches into their zone. Now you essentially have 3 guys literally covering one on the play, and St. Brown just spots up and he's uncovered on the play. That is awesome. It's small, but it's a beautiful design, and that's the kind of things that Ben Johnson always does. And again, the flexibility that you have with St. Brown allows some of those things to kind of open up offensively. Really little thing I'll show here. This was an incomplete pass. This one went to St. Brown. It was catchable. It was contested pretty well, but it was a pass interference, so it still worked out for us. They're in man coverage again defensively, but the real key that I want to show, and again, you can see their safety is now rolled down into the box, which can kind of give you a tell at that. But what's really crafty about this to me is, again, talking about handling the edge defenders. So they were utilizing their tight ends. So watch this. 2 tight ends in line on this play. Immediately, Sam Laporta is going to step in. He's going to block Thule on this play. But then, as you can see, they pull around the guard on this play. So they pull around the guard to sell the play fake. With that happening as well, Sewell steps inside to pick up his block. But watch the timing of this. As Jonah Jackson pulls around on this play, who's doing a lot of pulling work for the Lions in this game, Sam Laporta is essentially just going to wait for Jonah Jackson to get there right here and basically allow him to pass it off. And then he picks up the edge defender. And again, they have another answer. And again, the timing of the offense, when they rolled down that safety, they kind of got a sense of what they were defensively. They were getting one-on-ones, utilize the play fake, you pick up the edge defender. Everybody else is doing their job really well in pass protection.
And the Lions, in a way, kind of took advantage here. So they're getting aggressive defensively. They bring a 5-man rush, which means that you don't have a free underneath zone defender. You have one deep safety on the play. So because of that, if a guy like Sam Laporta, say, for example, utilizing that chip and then potential curl route, whatever he wants to do underneath, if he does that off the play fake and the linebacker, Kenneth Murray, drops back and tries to step in front of this dig route that we're going to hit behind him on the play, all of a sudden that little chip route is going to be wide open. It's going to be a very easy completion for Goff. Flip it around, because he stands down underneath, now there's no middle field help there underneath in that sense.
And again, you're getting the ball out quickly, tied along with the run fake as well. Lions utilized play action, helped him a ton in play action, was the run game, because in zone, it can force you to work laterally before getting upfield. Here you pull an offensive lineman, he picks up the edge defender, and again, the ball's getting out on time, on target. That was a pass interference, so we got a big chunk play out of it. This was a massive run by Jahmyr Gibbs. And again, kind of a similar look from the Lions offensively. I'll give you the other look at it though here. They utilize the tight end. They come out in a balanced look, 2-by-2 look offensively.
And you notice here on this play, they're matching personnel defensively, the front 7 that they have out there with 2 tight ends on the field. But then also on top of that, they're giving you a 2-high safety look against this balanced look. They're almost showing like it's going to be cover 6 again defensively. So they were willing to put 2 deep in the first half. Second half, we obviously saw some changes, but that helps lighten the box for the Lions to run.
Shift that at the snap. We've seen them do this earlier this year, become kind of a staple of their offense, and now they've continued to do that, especially in this matchup. It was key because they balance out their offense initially pre-snap, then utilize Sam Laporta, fast motion. He comes around, picks up that edge defender, and you can see where the edge defender is aligned at. You have an inside slot, you have an inline tight end. He's between the two.
St. Brown being line here also allows him to kind of squeeze him back inside so that Brock Wright can get on the outside and open up the inside block for Sam Laporta on the jet motion. Also, with again here to the boundary side, because they're giving that quarters look and the cornerback is so far and off coverage that when they double team the edge defender, there's basically no one else on that side of the field. You're going to see the cornerback come down late, but there's so much depth between the cornerback and having an extra body there, so they're free to make this double team block and give themselves a lot of space.
Then watch the offensive lineman on this. Again, Frank Ragnow at the point of attack against the nose tackle. I mean, they are driving this. They drove him up to Kenneth Murray on this play. Look at that. The right guard and Penei Sewell on this play. Graham Glasgow and Penei Sewell. Look at the movement that they're getting here at the point of attack. I mean, this is awesome. They are getting so much movement here with the blocking. And one of the things we talked about last week for Jahmyr Gibbs, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago with Jahmyr Gibbs, that I love about Gibbs is his ability to read when he's in open field. On to the next. He's always on to the next. What's the next plan? And you can see here with the linebacker, Eric Kendricks, getting over top, kind of stepping into this lane. You can see Jahmyr Gibbs sees that, kind of stops, hesitates, and then he shoots upfield vertically, pushes upfield here. And you can see with Kenneth Murray as well. Watch Kenneth Murray on this play. So he's kind of staying behind in position to take away that cutback lane. But then ultimately, as Gibbs continues to push, Kenneth Murray's going to have to step inside to fill there because there is no one to do so. So then, with that little hesitation, Gibbs is able to set up, pull both linebackers inside, and then again, he's automatically on to what's next. Now he's looking for cutback, and now he's on to where's that safety. And you can all see the cornerback here had an ability to fill, hesitates, shoots upfield, good contact balance there, getting skinny between the tackle box, and then he's on to the next. Sees the safety roll down, instead of pushing vertically, he's immediately bouncing outside, and that's when he tries to get the edge, and he gets knocked down at the 1. You can see Goff following on this play, but that's where Gibbs was dynamic a couple weeks ago, and then he showed it again there. And then this, again, it's a different way to do it, but the Lions ran this play essentially twice in this game. Another time that they ran it, they actually put 3 backs, and instead of having 2 backs like this, they just put a running back here as well. Really just that simple as Antoine Green steps in, which also, another point to that, Antoine Green being the receiver that they're utilizing on pure run plays. Why is that key? Because it helps set up the 3rd and 1 touchdown that the Lions had at the end of the game, because personnel-wise, they gave you all the personnel that was running the football. Malcolm Rodriguez, Antoine Green. Now, Antoine Green's going to step in here, step down, get this pin down block. You're going to pull around Jonah Jackson, who's going to pick up the cornerback on this play. And then again, you're just going to use Malcolm Rodriguez to basically take out Joey Bosa, cut block, boom, take him out of the play. and then you work around and you walk in for a touchdown there. But I think what's really key about that is the personnel that they show, because they're able to come back later, set plays up off of that. Honestly, this more than anything, I mean, I kind of given myself a pat on the back for this one, but I don't want to go fully in for that because I thought this would be a run scheme that could very much so be effective in this game. This was the only time I really noted that we went to this look exactly, and this is also something the Lions have done earlier this year when they run the ball in obvious, or not obvious, but usually obvious passing downs, is trap runs. Why? Well, first thing is they have 2 deep safeties on the play. Second thing, they're giving you their pass rush look. They're giving you that 3x2 look that we talked about coming into this game, where they put 3 rushers on one side, 2 on the other, and you can see they set up the stunts and they set up the games on one side, and they can really widen out your offense line when they do that. So they're giving you every reason to believe that they think that this is a pass play. There was literally nobody at the second level. So with that being said, the Lions, as you can see here, Frank Ragnow seals down, Graham Glasgow shoots up to the second level. He's going to slide up, take Kenneth Murray, and then of course you're going to pull around your opposite guard here in Jonah Jackson, and that sets up this run play. See, first off with Frank Ragnow trying to seal on Thule, he kind of slides inside. On top of that, Sam Laporta, who's trying to seal off here Khalil Mack, it kind of forces the bounce on this play, and then once he bounces, you can see Khalil Mack gets in on this tackle. So they could have had about a yard short, but then it was Frank Ragnow not giving up, as well as Sam Laporta specifically, who dove in there, helped push him forward. And then of course, this is just what David Montgomery brings to the table, his ability to stay on his feet and just keep fighting and pick up the first down. This play, I really want to show off David Montgomery and his skill set, because last week we spent a lot of time taking a look at a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, rightfully so. How about we take a little bit of a look at David Montgomery and his skill set? This is a 3rd down play for the Lions offensively, and they go to a little bit of an inside zone look here. But what really stands out is how David Montgomery sets up this run. That's what stands out to me on this play. Watch Montgomery. We talk about the patience as a runner, and you're going to see that right here. And he really allows time for Frank Ragnow to set up the seal and kick up to the second level. So watch here. He's going to run this inside zone play, and you can see it. He gets the handoff here. Kenneth Murray is going to fill. Now, instead of immediately pushing away from Kenneth Murray, seeing that, okay, that guy's unblocked, let me immediately try to jump upfield. Instead, he allows the blocking scheme to set up. First thing, at right guard on this play, Graham Glasgow is able to seal the defensive tackle. So that's the first key here. He's able to seal the defensive tackle, Morgan Fox, with a little bit of help there, and that allows and kind of opens up this lane. But at the same time, watch David Montgomery. Watch him get square to the line of scrimmage and then hop through that gap. He doesn't immediately push through that gap just because it's there. He allows it to set up. He's patient, makes Murray fill, and then once he does that and these 2 blocks set up, Frank Ragnow seals up here. Now that opens up the run lane for him to hit through and again push forward for 5 yards. So I just love the way that he sets up blocks. He runs with so much patience, and I think that was a really good example there. First thing that you really point out here is personnel. They are matching on this play. You can see Lions 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, both edge rushers are out there, 3 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers. So they only have 4 defensive backs. Now, in that sense, maybe you go cover 0, but here they have, again, both edge defenders out on the slots. And because of that, it kind of gives you the sense that they're probably not going cover 0, because then they would have to rush from a far distance.
Clarify here, because the Chargers run a lot of zone that matches defensively. So here, I don't want to say it can't be cover 0, because you could essentially say that the safeties are just matched up with the slots on this play, and that all these players underneath are just underneath zone defenders, so that this is cover 0. They're just not blitzing. We're probably not going to see that blitz again because of where the edges are aligned on this play, but it still could be cover 0. However, it gives you more of a quarters vibe because of the fact that they're putting their safeties over the slots and they're kind of just matching through their zone.
Or from a far distance, you probably don't want to do that. You'd rather have them closer to the line of scrimmage.
Also, with the Lions putting their only 2 receivers in the slots in this spot, it kind of forces them to dictate what coverage they want to lean into here, because you put the 2 tight ends wide and you're putting both of your outside cornerbacks over top with safeties over top of the receivers, which means that if it's cover 0, okay, they're rushing from a far alignment, but if it's not cover 0, then we're pretty sure that this is going to be zone coverage defensively, because those 2 edge defenders, they're not going to want them one-on-one with slots. So at very least, they're going to allow them to release vertically and try to pass it off to the safety, and that's where St. Brown sets it all up.
Zone, because they're not going to carry these upfield. So here's really the key here is just that. St. Brown, he's going to release outside, he's going to get around Khalil Mack, then he's going to push upfield, and really what he's creating is distance, man. With him releasing outside, he creates room for him to kind of bubble and then push back inside of the safety on this play. It also, as you can see, the safety, because they're playing on top of these slot receivers, makes him release outside. So it's giving him a lot of space to make this throw happen and make this reception happen. But then as soon as he pushes vertical, Khalil Mack, of course, is going to say, okay, go ahead, you got it. I'm not going to cover that on that play. Goff is going to hold right for one quick second there, hold that linebacker, that off-ball linebacker that's free as best as possible on this play, and then he's going to come back right through, and St. Brown's going to dive back right behind Khalil Mack on this one, and then it's St. Brown just making a great catch in traffic, picking up a big first down from the defense who's in that too high look once again. Now I'm going to show this goal line play. Really not a ton to speak on here specifically. They're in goal line man. We try to throw to the flat and it was completed. You don't get the switch here. Again, notice the personnel. They're going to throw it here out of this though. But you can see with Antoine Green, he kind of just is in there to almost like set a pick. But I think if anything, they were maybe hoping that they could get the switch between a corner and safety, that when they ran this kind of slant flat kind of look, that maybe if they could get that switch, they could get out to Gibbs and he could walk into the end zone. That didn't happen. He stuck with his man Leonard did on this play. There was no switch, so this thing was actually covered up pretty well here because Derwin got directly over top and took this thing away. But I would also say to this point, this whole goal line sequence, the Lions really leaned on running the ball in. They couldn't punch it in. But what they did schematically was something that they came back to a little bit later when they got right back into the same spot. They just missed blocks for about 3 straight plays, basically. I mean, you had a pulling offensive lineman, and the edge rusher that he was trying to pick up slid around, tripped him up. You didn't get in the end zone. Then you come back, you miss a block on the offensive line, you try to set up a play action play, but it's a complete blown block, so the guy's free through, you throw it incomplete, and that's really what it was. You just missed blocks. Frank Ragnow got pushed back on another play, you had a tackle for loss. So the Lions then went into the pass game here. You can see everybody's manned up on this play. He gets over top, so this one was dropped, could have had a chance, but it probably wouldn't have been great there. Derwin played it well, they didn't pass it off, and they ended up, forcing kind of an incomplete pass on that play. But what's most interesting about this touchdown run for Montgomery, and I'm just going to let kind of Montgomery do what he does on this play, 75-yard touchdown, is that they were actually in the wrong personnel. According to Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're supposed to be in 12 personnel. They were in 11, so St. Brown didn't know what to do. So because of that, Goff checked into kind of a basic outside zone run that they do all the time, and it actually worked out into a touchdown. You could see defensively, safety's rolling down a little bit here on Derwin, but he's not aggressively rolling down. He's also not going to attack at the snap like he did a couple times in the second half. So it's only one single high safety on this play. They kind of run away from Derwin James, which I think a lot of times they kind of leaned into, like, hey, like if one guy's rolling into the box, specifically Derwin, let's run away from that guy. Let's stay away from that guy. That kind of gives him an extra defender. Let's go away from him. And in this case, that's exactly what they do. Now, it worked out because St. Brown, again, because of that edge defender, because of where he's aligned, he's so tight to the line of scrimmage here that the edge defender is going to play on the outside. He gets a little bit of a push in his chest here, and that really helps open up this cutback lane for Montgomery. Then St. Brown shoots up here into the second level and picks up another block. So St. Brown did his thing on this play regardless. You got really good movement going on here with the offensive line. Decker gets up, seals off the linebacker on this play, and again, with Derwin James not aggressively playing into the box in this first half, this had a lot of room for Montgomery to basically just walk into a huge cutback lane here and run away from the safety initially off the snap, and then of course it's just about what Montgomery does with the ball in his hands. He's just out here making a play. This thing was nasty. Pushed it upfield here. This juke move literally made 2 guys miss. He not only made the safety miss, but he also made the cornerback miss. You can see him on the outside here. Bam, set it up, hops through the 2, they run into each other, and then he's taken off on this play. Jameson sticks with it, picks up a block. Khalif comes across the field, picks up a block. Toe taps the sideline. Crazy run there by David Montgomery. We're into the second half, and here is where things got a little bit shaky the first possession out of half. But what I really want to showcase here is this play in particular kind of demonstrates, I think, what the Lions did really well. But what is key with this? To me, what's key is that this is 3rd and 10. And with the Lions getting man coverage, their ability to get the ball out very quickly kind of negated what this defensive front could do. You can see, again, they put 3 guys on one side. Now, they're just widening that offensive line. You can see the stunt that they create here with Khalil Mack and Morgan Fox on this play. And this ended up being a free rusher. Like, in a lot of cases, this would be a problem. You got a free rusher on this play, and this is what they're capable of doing. But the issue is the Lions are getting the ball out very quickly. They're not getting through multiple reads. It's boom, boom, get the ball out. And I think that was a really good job game plan-wise. It was a really good job schematically, but then also it was a really good job by the run game because it helped them stay in a lot of those spots. But like an example like this was almost clearly just a clear-out play. What did they do here? Well, St. Brown's just going to run kind of a weak little slant route on this play, but really the key to that is this. Roll down to pick up the slot receiver, St. Brown, on this play. But what they do is when things pass inside, they pass it off to their backers if they're not blitzing on the play. So here, for example, that's exactly what they do. He then rolls back inside. So St. Brown releases outside, then cuts back inside. So Derwin initially sticks with it, but then as he continues to run through here, now the linebacker's going to pick it up, and Derwin can drop back off and then get back in coverage.
It also, in a way, kind of is bracketing in Amon-Ra St. Brown on this play because you have that off-ball linebacker who's pretty much free underneath. He can basically just sit inside. Derwin can sit to the outside, so you kind of bracket him in underneath.
But all that's doing is setting up timing for just a single whip route on the outside here for Josh Reynolds. Now, Josh stumbles a little bit out of this, but the timing, the ball is out quickly, doesn't allow this stunt to take place, and then is hoping to open up maybe a catch and run where he can catch it and then kind of knife upfield and potentially get through a little bit of a lane there to pick up this first down. Now, if Flake came in, we were a couple yards short, but it just gave us the first down because the Flake came in. But it was the play calling.
In some of these 3x2 looks, they would give you a little bit more of a combo coverage look. So for here with the two receiver side, they'd go a little bit more pure man coverage. Meanwhile, you can see on the bottom of the screen a little bit more of that zone coverage feel versus three receivers and the safety cheating over top that direction. Here on this two receiver side, you kind of have Derwin basically one-on-one with the slot, but he's still sitting outside leverage as the outermost underneath defender towards that side of the field. So when St. Brown releases outside, he then activates Derwin James to stick with it. Then when he releases back inside slightly on that slant, Goff's eyes staring at St. Brown, that pulls Derwin still before he decides to give it off to the linebacker on the play, and that's what opens up Josh Reynolds.
And that's what I really liked about the Lions' game plan in this, is that they really minimized what the edge defenders were going to do. A lot of times because their offensive line played well, but at the same time because of their play calling, they were not going to stand there and just hold on to the football. Lions are doing with St. Brown is the short motion in, and they're going to try to set up this cutback lane. So he does this short motion in, he's going to jump up and pick up the safety. So that can set up the cutback lane. Teams have done this to the Chargers, and they've had success doing that, is setting up cutback lanes with receivers or tight alignments like this. So that's what you get here. But because they're aggressive, they slant Thule inside. The reason they can do that is because they bring the slot cornerback blitz, and that causes an issue because now Sam Laporta, you could see he's not in a great position to pick up Thule on this play. He kind of drives right through them both. That's where you get the cutback. And then, of course, you have a slot cornerback blitz. Reynolds misses the block here on the slot cornerback right there. He whiffs on the block. So now he's running back into a defender's hands there, and then it shuts down the run. So they were forced to get a little bit more aggressive up front.
But then also you can see here, and this is the guy that we circled coming into this game, Agbania, number 93, does a pretty nice job holding his ground here with that combo block. This was a player that has shown a lot of flashes, specifically in that Jets game, and here I think he does a pretty solid job as well.
Once you start getting aggressive, the safety starts rolling to the box. Now all of a sudden you're getting singled up on the outside, and that's where St. Brown came into play. You can see Derwin James pre-snap. He's aligned all over the tight end on display, likely for Brock Wright. But then the Lions at the snap give you the split zone look, so they crash down here with Brock Wright. Sam Laporta comes across. He picks up kind of that split zone block on the edge defender, and then the Lions simply just set up a play fake one-on-one on the outside. This is kind of similar to what they do when they work specifically full-line situations and try to isolate. But then you get that outside zone fake, which they've been doing really well, and once you do that, now the edge defender is probably thinking, okay, I can kind of crash down the line of scrimmage, run down the line of scrimmage. But the issue is now here comes Sam Laporta for that split zone block to pick it up and sit in pass protection.
Again, a little subtlety to this is St. Brown releasing inside right behind Derwin James, pushing vertically behind Derwin James instead of just going vertically on the play. That does create space for this out route, but also it's going to keep Derwin James from potentially trying to drop into the flat once his tight end stays into block, as you can see on his side. He thinks that thing's behind him. Goff's eyes then go middle of the field. So again, Derwin has no reason to start to leak into potentially jumping into this passing lane. Then when he's able to break it back outside, there's no one underneath that can affect this pass.
And then it's just about St. Brown running a really good route here. Goff being very accurate, hitting these throws consistently in this game. You can see he kind of steps up there on the stem of the route, breaks it at the top right there, wraps around, and then Goff puts it on the money. And he was money with these throws in this game. And again, the ball was getting up very quickly. This is where the defense getting aggressive kind of worked for them. And now we saw in this game, cornerback blitz, got one-on-one with St. Brown. We're going to take a look at that play. And you can see here with the cornerback Leonard, he's going to get very aggressive on this toss play. He's going to crash down, dive down, and they're able to kind of shut this thing down as he takes away where this is actually designed to go. Because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, why did the Lions try to do this? I was very interested. First off, personnel-wise, you can see they got Malcolm Rodriguez in the game, so you're probably thinking run, which can maybe give a little bit of a tell there. But the reason I was sitting back like, why did the Lions try to do this is because Derwin James starts to roll down. Now, he does a really good job kind of holding that. He doesn't sit in the box pre-snap. He starts to roll down during the cadence here from Goff. As while they were tossing this to the left as they had all game, use the short motion, instead of actually running to the left, they were actually designing this as an automatic counter play by pulling Jonah Jackson, bringing around Brock Wright. This was set to be a counter run that showed toss left, and then we cut back right off of it. But the issue came to play because Derwin James, who was hiding whether or not he was going to be in the box, slid down late. He dives on it. shuts down Jahmyr Gibbs, forced that immediate cutback, and now you're running into a cornerback who's also being aggressive on the play, and they shut down, they get a negative. And that's what they really, I think, needed defensively, was to try to get some negatives. You can see Austin Johnson as well, the nose tackle here, working on our right guard, getting upfield aggressively, working on Graham Glasgow, getting a blown block, and they shut that down. They got a negative defensively. Just missed blocks. So here was another one that didn't go extremely well, but one thing the Lions started to transition to second half was we started to see, especially with kind of those, again, we see the five-man front, kind of just their, pure 3-4 look defensively, but they only have one off-ball linebacker. So when they would do that defensively, sometimes they put a safety in the box, sometimes they wouldn't. When they would do that, the Lions started to utilize some of these power or gap schemes offensively by pulling offensive linemen instead of just leaning into the zone runs consistently. And that's smart. Like, there was nothing wrong with doing that, because when they only have one off-ball linebacker in the box, you pull an offensive lineman, as long as you can seal these two blocks, pull around, hit that linebacker, you're going to have a big run on this play. And you could see Sam Laporta working on Thule. He's actually not doing a terrible job. Sam Laporta had a pretty good day at the point of attack, considering that was a matchup. I was like, yo, this is like really worrisome. I don't know how we're going to be able to handle that. And Sam Laporta held his own. It wasn't always perfect, but he's holding his own. But you pull the lineman, you're thinking, okay, if we can get to the second level. But then you lose the block here. You lose the block here with Taylor Decker. You're trying to seal down on a big man here in Austin Johnson. It does not work. And sometimes sometimes you get lost blocks and you get shut down runs. But the game plan made sense still in the second half. Now, this play is really important. This play is very important because this is actually the play the Lions are going to circle back to and win the game essentially on. This is the game. This is the play that seals the game, that ices the game at the end. It's the same setup from the Lions offensively here. And you can see they utilize the same across motion pre-snap. It's the same setup that they utilize.
But the Chargers defensively, they were matching when guys would hit their zones, basically. So you get like these single high looks, and it can look like a cover one, play like a cover one, but it could also be like a cover three look defensively. But the Lions are just going into their zones, and because of that, they're matching up through their zones. So you'll see when something, say, for example, from the slot here on this play on the field side at the top of the screen here, as that goes vertical, he's going to stick with St. Brown releasing vertical and going vertical on his route, and the outside corner is going to stay underneath with this out route. However, you also get here with Leonard, when Leonard passes this off to the middle of the field, he's passing it off, and they're essentially overloading the middle of the zone and these underneath linebackers that aren't necessarily specifically matched up until guys get into their zone, and they're overloading it offensively.
So as you see, while their matchups are there pre-snap with Khalif Raymond, two receivers to one side, when he motions across defensively, now assignments shift. So now Derwin James has the back, outside corner has the receiver. So now everybody shifts. You see a linebacker shift, they all shift to align with who they now have on the play. Eric Kendricks with the tight end. Here's the slot, here's the outside. So everybody's manned up on the play. But the real key to this is the setup the Lions did. I can almost guarantee the Lions have ran this before, because I feel like I've seen this before against teams that pass off middle field drag routes, crossing routes with their backers. So here's what the Lions do. In the spot, or kind of run an overball sitting right over the center. Then they're going to run an underneath crossing route with the number 3 receiver here, that slot receiver, in this case Sam Laporta. They're just going to run a drag route, a shallow crosser. What that's going to do is this. So if now Kendricks is shifted onto the backer on the play, and all of a sudden immediately Sam Laporta drags the middle of the field, he is immediately going to pass it off and drop out and be your zone defender. Now that puts it on Kenneth Murray. So now Kenneth Murray has a decision to make, because here's where the issue comes into play. It comes into play with Leonard, because now that the assignments have shifted and you know the safety has the back, here's where it comes into play. Because that took place, now you look at Leonard and you say, okay, if his man releases inside, he's going to pass it off to a backer too. That's where you get a 2-on-1. So with his man running immediately inside, Josh Reynolds running this little spot route over the middle of the field, who ends up picking up this first down, now he's trying to pass it off to the backers.
And to me, this is where, when Ben Johnson talks about route detail, this is where it comes into play here. Josh Reynolds is basically just going to hide. He's going to sit down right behind the linebacker. So when those two switch and Kenneth Murray steps down, he's going to break off his route. It's also at the same time that the cornerback tries to pass it off. And you can see Eric Kendricks doesn't really see it, as he kind of hides and sits right down beside Murray, and then that just gives him the space to throw it away from Eric Kendricks.
Second time we come back to this, we hit it a little bit different. We go to this guy. This time, we go to this guy. So watch this. Goff is watching that. There's the pass off. Linebacker sees it. He sees the shallow cross at his face, so he drives down to take that away. And what does that lead to? It leads to an underneath zone defender who is now freed up because his matchup is gone, and a cornerback that's dropping out because he released over the middle of the field, and it leads to a window where Goff can just say, okay, throw it away from that guy, boom, it's a first down. The key to that is that the Lions literally ran the same thing to ice the game, and they had to go elsewhere, and we'll take a look at the adjustment that they made on that play. Again, credit to the offensive line. That's all I want to showcase here. This offensive line is absolutely working. You can see they double team with the tight ends immediately there on the edge rusher. Once again, fast motion, bam, there's the double team. But look at the block. Frank Ragnow was disgusting in this game. I mean, he was disgusting across. He was absolutely amazing in this game. It was so good to have him back. He dominated for the majority of this game. Here he is on Nick Williams. Look at this. Look at him driving back. Yeah, with a little bit of help from Graham Glasgow. This man is driving him back yard after yard after yard. Look at this. Taylor Decker driving back Morgan Fox. I mean, that is amazing. They are driving these dudes who didn't maybe look super comfortable dealing with some of these outside or wide zone run plays. They weren't comfortable matching laterally, and they were getting driven back because of that. That athleticism with the offensive line, we heard Dan Campbell talk about it. This is athleticism with your offensive line. This is that ability to athletically move laterally and get really strong movement that the defensive line was not ready to handle. They could not handle moving laterally like that and also staying. And I was wondering why so many teams were running the outside zone, because it works against this D-line, but not as many offensive lines could dominate like we did. Our offensive line, healthy essentially for the most part outside of Big V, just dominated that. They just said, okay, this works. Now we're going to show y'all how to do it. All right, this ain't the Jets. We're going to go dominate that. And they absolutely did. And that was so incredibly impressive, man. Here's the fast read from Goff. So again, okay, they're getting aggressive. They want to stop the run. Great. Try that. Didn't work. Here's why. Watch on this play. So they're going to bring Leonard, again, the cornerback blitz on this play. This is where it's an issue because Goff immediately reads this. Goff reads safeties quickly and gets into, okay, what am I seeing defensively?
Where if the Lions can get you to match personnel, they can sometimes simplify potentially that coverage or the looks that they're getting in the back end. Like here, for example, you're going 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. So defensively, they match that defensive line linebackers, but they basically have 7 players here in the box and only 4 defensive backs on the field against 3 essentially receivers on this play, Sam Laporta being one of those receivers. Here's the key, though. They kind of give you what looks like a cover 6 look, and you can see kind of that quarter side to the stack that they have towards the field here. And when that takes place, now you have both those cornerbacks being taken out with 2 vertical routes. That means at the bottom of the screen here, you would usually have the ability to maybe bracket in if you're playing a cover 2 look on that side, but because they bring the cornerback blitz, it's a blitz because they bring 5 rushers, they end up dropping out Khalil Mack. Taylor Decker picks it up. Now they run into basically what you want to attack against like a cover 2 look, for example, is getting that safety one-on-one or getting a 2-on-1. Here, they get that safety clearly one-on-one, and it's Goff's read which makes this happen.
You take the snap, you blitz the cornerback, now you drop out Khalil Mack to deal with the tight end on this play, but immediately that puts the safety on top of St. Brown. So now as Goff sees that safety roll over top directly over St. Brown, you know there's that cornerback blitz. Now he knows he's singled up. There's basically almost stacked up on the play, and you have 2 guys out there matching it. No one else is in a vicinity to really help out, and the edge doesn't drop out on this play. So you don't really have any help to that side of the field, which means this is isolated with St. Brown, and he's just going to run a post route. So as soon as Goff reads that safety run right over top, he's like, got him. Doesn't think about it, doesn't hesitate, immediately plants, steps into it, bam, drops a dime. And it was just that easy. He was like, boom, right to it. Again, getting the ball out immediately. They were not playing around with it. As much zone as they were playing, this is why this play worked. And I'm going to show you another screen that, man, the Lions, dude, they were on top of things in this game. When things didn't work out, it was maybe like, oh, we didn't anticipate they were going to do that, and that got us. But here we go. Watch this. They're going to go into a zone look. That's why this touchdown works out, because here, as you're going to see, they're going to bring Brock right over. You can see, again, the fast motion on the play. But the issue comes back to the safety. Because initially, you're thinking maybe the safety has the slot receiver. Maybe Eric Kendricks on this play has the tight end. The edge run defender's just standing out there. So when you bring the fast motion, linebacker shifts in. So now it's like, okay, well, who has the slot? Notice that the safety is not staying over top of the slot. He starts to walk into the box, too. Here's where that runs into a problem. Because now you pull across a play fake. And you could essentially call this... You could kind of call this an RPO look, but it's more of a pure play action. We did have one kind of RPO look in this game. I don't think I showed it. I was looking for those in this game. they ran it maybe one time specifically, but really the key is here, you got the play fake, you pull the offensive line, so you really sell it. So Khalil Mack is going to crash down. The issue is that you're going into a zone. You're going into cover 3 seemingly here. How? Because the safety doesn't stick over the slot. He walks into the box. Now he starts to leak out over top. So again, you all this safety movement, it's great, but it can also work against you. And like this, it does, because the edge defender crashes, you motion across to pull the linebackers in. Now your safety starts to cheat over inside because he's trying to go to a deep field alignment, and this safety, Derwin James, is trying to roll down to underneath zone. So now all of a sudden he's out of place, and then you got St. Brown on a tunnel look. Taylor Decker gets a second level, and St. Brown walks into the end zone. Beautiful there. How about Jahmyr Gibbs? So Jahmyr Gibbs had technically, I think, 2 drops up to this point. The one on the little flat route, and then another one which was pretty contested well on a little angle route. But that one was contested well. Probably still should have been caught though. But this is making up for it. All right. I think he has elite potential as a receiving back, and this was making up for here. This honestly could have been a massive play. It's one deep safety. That's it. Everybody else is singled up. How do we know that? Because they're bringing 5 on the play.
It's like we talked about, when guys hit these linebacker zones, they pick it up when it hits their zone. And that's really the key here. You notice that the inline tight end, Brock Wright, releases towards the outside to pull the linebacker with him, which essentially singles up Jahmyr Gibbs for the angle route. He releases outside, so the linebacker releases out there into that zone. But then when it breaks back outside on the angle route, now he's got to get back into it to match it, because now he has no help to pass it off to. So it creates an opening with a single high safety, and they're also blitzing, so there's no other underneath help, because now everybody has a body essentially on this play, because everyone releases and you're only going to 5-man protection.
He sees the linebacker drop out and take here Jahmyr Gibbs on the play. And as soon as he sees that, he's like, great, I'm going right there to that angle route. You're one-on-one. I like that matchup. And that's immediately what he finds here. Feels the 5-man rush and flips it out there. This could have been huge, though, because if this is caught cleanly and it's not tipped at the line, he could take off, because Derwin's the only guy out there with a chance. He could take off. We know Gibbs in space. But even with this being tipped, this catch is incredible by Gibbs. The concentration, the bobble around, fall forward, still pick up the first. That was an incredible catch. And of course, this was a must-have it type of drive for the Lions here. So that, I mean, these last couple drives were must-have it. That was an incredible catch. Here, we'll come back with this play for the Lions. Again, in the passing game, decisive, get the ball out of your hands. Again, defensively, cover 1. Safety rolls down to Derwin James over Laporta. You probably know it's man coverage. That's something that we kind of expected. Also, notice safety on this play. Here's what's also key to this. You see that the safety's over top of this 2 receiver side. He's on the field side. He's sitting over top of those 2 guys that are aligned wide. Why this is key is because later when they play man and he's wide and he starts to try to roll middle and show that post snap, like, ooh, now I'm going to roll the middle of the field. Goff knows that he's doing that, and he sees it again, and because of that, he's able to go right at it and say, you can't get over there in time. That's not this, for example, though.
It's again here with Derwin James taking this underneath out route on this play. St. Brown's pushing it vertically outside, and that forces Derwin James to give some depth. And then Sam Laporta is able to kind of hide inside of that release of St. Brown. And then when he breaks at the top of the route, it forces a little bit of space, a little bit of depth created between the two, and also a slight little delay for him to jump on this out-breaking route. Again, the timing of when St. Brown goes from releasing outside to then stabbing back and getting vertically inside to when Sam Laporta breaks his route outside. It's just the timing and the route detail the Lions have here to create a little bit of space between Sam Laporta and Derwin James.
He's still delivering this ball on the money. He was money on these outside throws on time. And I think that's what you see with Goff. When things are on time, he is money. And he was money. Look at this. Plant, just drive that thing onto Laporta, put it on him, and then we pick up like 7 yards on that play. Here's why I just talked about that last play, because of this. So here's where the Lions get a little bit of a shot play, and they showed this on the broadcast. They were like, yo, look at how we read this, thought it was this coverage, and all of a sudden it was this, and he picked up the first down. I thought this was a cover 3 look when I saw it initially.
It turns more into a combo coverage look. We're at the bottom here towards the field side where there's only 2 receivers because Jahmyr Gibbs on the offset left. That they're playing a little bit more pure man coverage on that side with an underneath zone linebacker that's going to float over there. And then on the boundary side of the field, it looks like a little bit more of the cover 3 zone look where you're going to see Derwin James. He's going to take the outside receiver, which is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs, to the 3 receiver side, and the safety is going to roll over late to deep middle to play kind of that combo look as a single high safety.
So again, as we've seen, the safety rolls down, he takes the tight end. Well, notice the difference here. Gibbs is on his side of the formation. So while you have Derwin James rolling down on this play. And maybe you're showing like, okay, it could look like some zone coverage on this play with the way that you saw Derwin James kind of roll up on the box, and he got one safety who's then going to roll back to the middle of the field. He's showing that, but this is going to be an issue for them because, again, he's leaning towards the field side. That's going to become a very big problem because Goff is going to attack that with the tight end. Here's where this thing gets all out of whack for him, is this. Jahmyr Gibbs releases towards that side aggressively and cuts it back inside on an angle route. Why that's a problem is because they're going to pass things off. And as you can see, Derwin James is the widest player on the field on this play. He's the only guy that can essentially take Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield unless this outside corner does, which he really can't because we run a speed out, so he has to deal with that on the play. Once Jahmyr Gibbs immediately shoots out of the backfield, Derwin slides down, so they pass off assignments. Okay, I got here, I'll take the back, you take the tight end. Well, again, linebackers aren't going to carry vertically. That's not what they do defensively. So now all of a sudden, he's going to pass that thing off. Well, the issue comes into play is that, yeah, you can pass that thing off to an inline tight end, but your guy that you're passing it to, he is literally, it's on the opposite side of the field. This guy is playing on the field side, so he's got a lot of distance to cover. Now, he starts to work that way, but you're passing it to a guy that does not have the leverage if this is an out-breaking route. On top of that, because you see Khalif Raymond push this speed out route, and because Goff looks there, this cornerback does not drop off.
And kind of like we saw earlier with some of our other setups, with Jahmyr Gibbs running an angle route, he initially is going to occupy Derwin James underneath. Then he breaks back inside. Well, by the time Derwin James would have that opportunity to see that and then drop out, he's not going to have the depth to help on the tight end that's already went by. And again, that linebacker is going to let him go vertical because he's pushing vertical. He's not going to carry that. And then the running back enters the linebacker zone. So he's also going to hold down as well there because he's entering his zone. And again, the cornerback is now matched up with the speed out route. He's diving down as Goff is looking there to throw. So Goff recognizes that, okay, cornerback dove, and then you can also see that up the seam, the tight end had that free release. Safety's on the opposite hash. I can go there and just float this thing out there. And this was a heck of a fast read and a dime.
To be honest with you, it's also a great catch. It's also just a great catch from Sam Laporta on this play. But again, pass pro's on point. You drop it in the bucket, and again, you have another big-time first down. This is one of the more creative plays that the Lions had here. One, you can already see it. First thing is this. St. Brown being in that inside slot alignment, almost closer to a tight end alignment. We've seen this all game long. So we've already seen this. This is not something that's brand new. We've already seen this. Second thing the Lions tie to it, again, is their fast motion tight end, which a lot of times, as we've seen, they'll crash down. They'll pick up the edge defender on the play, and you're going to see the safety's not going to dive as that tight end rolls away from him, because if he has a tight end on the play, tight end rolls across, they're going to shift. So everybody, all their linebackers, everybody shifts across. They change up who's matched up on who. So now you give them that look, but then what you do is you run a sweep out of it. You pull Graham Glasgow and Penei Sewell, not guys on, kind of the front side, but kind of on the back side of the play. You're going to pull two guys outside the numbers on this play. So now if Derwin James has the back, where's the back going? The back's going right too because he's faking a toss. So now everybody's eyes, if Derwin has the back, now he's looking at the toss. All linebackers shift because you're shifting with the motion pre-snap on the play. So now all of a sudden you have an inside Derwin James who's watching and eyeing the running back, a cornerback that dives inside as well. Then you run a sweep off it with a fake toss and you work into a first down. This is a super creative run setup to pick up a first down on this play. And then St. Brown just does the rest. And I don't even know if he got a first down. He may have been a yard short on that play. Regardless, he was a yard short because this is how we scored the touchdown. My bad. It's a 3rd and 1. We're about to score a touchdown. Lions set it up perfectly with personnel. Look who they have out there. 5 offensive linemen. Antoine Green, who's been in there to block, had a little pick play in the goal line formation, but he's essentially just been in their block, which he blocked pretty well for us. 2 tight ends, Malcolm Rodriguez. Everybody's telling you this is a run play. Secondly, what did they also run into an issue with here? Notice there's really no one matched up with Malcolm Rodriguez on this play. That's the one thing I noticed. Your offset fullback Rodriguez is not being matched up with. If they're in man coverage, no one's matching him on the play pre-snap. Now you could say, oh, Kenneth Murray has him, the off-ball linebacker has him, but he's not across from him there. He's not really matched up because it's a 1-yard situation. Their defensive line goes into the techniques that they play for goal line as well. They basically go into a goal line man type of look here defensively. So no one's really matched up seemingly on Malcolm Rodriguez unless this safety is matched up on Malcolm Rodriguez. If the safety's matched up on Malcolm Rodriguez based on where they are pre-snap, now you're outnumbered. Why? Because you have 2 tight ends and a fullback and only 2 guys that are really going to match up and carry. And because of that, you also sell, of course, the run fake, which pulls the linebacker down, Kenneth Murray, who's not seemingly matched up with anybody on this play. And on top of doing that, you also are going to release Brock Wright, not Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta sits in the block, which can throw everything off. So even if we said, okay, well, hey, the safety's got Malcolm Rodriguez, who has Brock Wright? Okay, well, the linebacker's got Brock Wright. He's not really paying no attention to that with the play action.
For Kenneth Murray as the lone off-ball linebacker here on the hash, you can see that someone also would have to be accountable for the running back on this play. And Kenneth Murray is going to be eyeing that running back with the play fake. So again, there's really no eyes to that inside tight end on this play in Brock Wright.
So now all of a sudden you give him problems. But on top of this, you can see that Sam Laporta sits in the block, so the cornerback's like, all right, he's blocking on this play. You could see Malcolm Rodriguez goes in the block, so the safety's thinking, all right, they're running the football. And then it's Brock Wright who slides through because it doesn't seem like anybody's literally matched up across from him. So everybody's late, tied along with the play fake and a beautiful touch pass. You got yourself a touchdown. Beautiful setup with personnel as well there because the Lions had been living in that when they go in short yardage situations. This is where you're going to see Ben Johnson run the entire field essentially on the sideline. This was awesome. I haven't seen him do this. Maybe he has. I haven't seen him do this. This thing was pretty sweet to just see him fired up like he was on this play, which just stood out to me. And I don't know if this was designed, but I think it was. It was Frank Ragnow. So Lions give you the same look that they've given you all game. It's 1st and 10. We're going to start this drive. It's the last drive to go ahead, try to get a lead. We're maybe going to milk some clock here. So the Lions give you a same look that they've been giving you constantly on 1st down. Kind of, maybe we're going to run a stretch type of play here. All right, cool. But then they don't. And that's where the problem ensues here because, again, you have a slot alignment. They're going to pass things off. You have an off-coverage corner who releases on that shallow cross. He's trying to pass it off to somebody, but here's where they run into a problem. It actually, I think, worked up perfectly. I don't know if the Lions were prepared that this was going to happen, but it did, and it worked out beautifully. And it kind of takes me back to when Goff saw this against the Panthers. Slot blitz. We went right over top with the crossing route. Kind of looks the same. I'm going to be honest. I didn't look back to see if it was the same play, but it looks exactly the same kind of. They bring the slot blitz. That leads to a problem because now the safety slides down. You don't have any bodies over there. Safety takes the slot. There's no bodies on that side of the field. The only guy that's free is Derwin James because slot blitzes, he drops out. Linebacker takes tight end. Now your only free player is your deep safety in what looks like a cover one type of blitz look, and he's on the opposite side of the field. But at the same time, watch Frank Ragnow here who sells this, right? There's the block. You see how he spins off and picks up the edge defender? Like, bro, that's got to be designed because they know all game long these edge rushers are crashing the line of scrimmage to take away the zone. Goff isn't giving you a threat of, oh, he might pull that down and run the other way. He's not really giving you that threat. Plus, you're bringing a slot blitz, so the edge defender feels like, okay, I can crash down the play because the slot comes off the edge. So I don't know if they were prepared for a slot blitz or what, but this worked out beautifully because Frank Ragnow was going to show that he's blocking that way, flip himself around, and pick up the guy crashing down the line of scrimmage. I mean, like, bro, if that was just like, I just felt it. Like, I don't know. But the point is that's beautiful because really what that takes away is the second effort blitz. Then on top of that, of course, even the slot defender is considering, like, do I dive on this run play? But the cornerback, again, you could see he's passing off to linebackers. It's not an issue of assignment because you could see that Eric Kendricks has a tight end. It's more so the issue of the play fake. You run the play fake, linebacker, you can see Murray here is aggressive to flow, and when the cornerback tries to pass it off, he's not passing it off to him. Instead, this guy's now mashed up with the tight end because you brought a blitz. You're trying to pass it off all the way to this linebacker, and now Khalif Raymond is just screaming across the field, and it's just easy money. You could see, watch Ben Johnson, there he is. Ben Johnson's fired up. I don't know that he knew he was going to set up like that. Or maybe he did because it felt like everything that they did, every little detail matched up, which is just ridiculous. I mean, maybe, hey, I don't know. That's insane. The point is, though, that was an awesome play call. Now, here was a screen they tried to set up. And I'm watching this. I'm like, why did we run this? One of the issues that I saw coming into this one is like, yo, you can throw screens against zone, but not man. And we threw it against zone. It looked like we got a big play. But here, I'm like, why would we do it? And then I watched the play, and I'm like, oh, I see what we were trying to do. It just didn't work out. And here's why on this play. So here, we're going to run a short motion, and then we're going to drag the middle of the field. Everything that we know is that they usually carry that in terms of they usually pass it off to the backers. What happens on this play, which leads to an issue, and maybe they were trying to get a little pick play with Laporta. Maybe that's what this was. To me, the issue is this. Defensively, they're blitzing again. They're bringing a cover one blitz, so you don't have any free off-ball linebackers, and because that Derwin doesn't have someone to pass this off to because someone's responsible for the back, this backer is, this one's blitzing. And because of that, he knows that he can't pass this off to anybody. So he follows this. He just matches this across, which leads to this running back in man matched up on the back here. See, if this was a scenario where they're both off-ball linebackers, they're kind of both sitting in zone, one has the back, one's in zone, and Derwin can pass this off to a backer and then drop out, now this play actually makes a ton of sense to me. But because it's not, and the pick play doesn't really work, which, you know, I would credit to Kenneth Murray, they're kind of stepping down underneath. Maybe they were just trying to set up the pick play and he stepped underneath of that. But to me, I was like, why would we run this? This thing hasn't worked really for anybody. Kenneth Murray has just shut these things down consistently. They shut it down, but I think that's why this thing didn't work out. So maybe the couple plays ago it worked out and it was like, yo, that was great for what they ran. That play may have been like, oh, that wasn't great for what they ran. That didn't match up exactly how we wanted it to. And then again, this is where it all went down, all right? The last 2 plays of the game offensively, and then we had special teams and we kicked the field goal, we won the football game. It starts off with the play that gets us close. And the first play is this that sets up the 4th and 2, which is the key here. It's a 12-yard pickup. Great throw, great timing.
You took a look at last play where we threw the screen. Maybe we should have checked out of that play with it being pure man coverage, but you don't know that they're going to blitz on the play, so they shut down the screen. But you notice with pure man coverage, the safety rolls down and tried to bracket in the slot in St. Brown. He kind of showed like, hey, I'm going to take that away if he tries to break inside. Well, in this case, again, you get kind of that zone matching up look. So that cornerback that's sitting outside leverage here in the slot, he's got to hold outside leverage. And the fact that St. Brown just beats outside leverage, still beats him outside, even though he's trying not to let him get outside, you have that underneath zone linebacker help. Now, the Lions, they kind of run crossers here with their receiver and also their back, but he's sliding over there still to help, yet the cornerback gets beat to the outside, which he's trying to protect, and you use your wide receiver, Jameson, to just push vertically and essentially isolate that matchup to say, hey, St. Brown, you got to win even though he's sitting outside. And that's exactly what he did.
If anything, you could argue that, well, he could have inside help and he's sitting outside leverage, so in a way, you're kind of bracketing him in here with the linebacker. I would think you got to send more help. Put a safety on that guy. Make someone else beat you. Forget the deep safety. You got to make someone else beat you because this man is just, and other players were winning. Don't get it wrong, but you got to make someone else beat you here because St. Brown was just beating you, and Goff was putting it on the money. So I think someone else could have came through, but, bro, I'm like, you got to make someone else beat you because St. Brown will beat you. That's the reality, and this is the exact same play that we saw earlier. So I pointed this out, same setup, same look, Goff makes the play. He does because he sees it, he recognizes it, offensive line holds up, and you pick up a first down. Watch how this sets up again. Same look, Khalif Raymond. Fast motion across. Same player as well. Josh Reynolds is going to sit down. You're going to run this shallow crosser here with Sam Laporta. But watch this. This thing is absolutely beautiful, man. I love this. So there you go. Now you shift who has who, okay? So you shift who has who. Edge defender, he's not picking up anybody in coverage. Now he takes out the running back immediately, but he's still rushing on this play. So now you've shifted. Okay, Derwin James, I got the back. You got the receiver on this play. Great. What does that lead to? It leads to a 2-on-1. Now, here's the difference. Leonard, who was in the action, I think it was Leonard last time, was in the action last time. They go down, they run the spot route. And what did he do? He tried to pass that thing off because it released inside. He sees the setup and says, I'm not passing this thing off. I got to stay on top of this route.
And then also keep an eye on Eric Kendricks. See, this is a great setup for the coverage that they're in because with this underneath crossing route that's ultimately going to sit down in the zone coverage hole, which Laporta does, finds it. The reason there's a zone coverage hole is because you run Gibbs out really wide and you pull Derwin James into the flat as far as you can. That way Laporta has room to just sit down. But on top of that, Eric Kendricks, when he passes this route, this crossing route over to Murray, he immediately finds that overball route, that little spot route, and he steps in front of it and makes it a difficult window. Tied along with for Murray, as he passes it off to Derwin James, which he can't on this play, that's where the issue comes in. Because if Murray on this play, for example, he continues to roll with that shallow route, now Goff can try to squeeze it into that window. But he sits there and does not, as Goff is watching that middle route. And because of that, Goff comes back late and hits this little shallow crosser that's sitting down in the zone hole. I'll show you the other angle.
But it also comes back to the O-line because when you're under duress, you might try to force and squeeze this in there. But because the O-line was so darn good, you could see a wide release for the edge rush here. Penei Sewell on Joey Bosa puts him on the ground. The offensive line came through, did not let Goff get under duress and have to force something here. He had allowed him to stand in there and set this darn thing up. You want to talk about why the offensive line is the MVP? It's because of a play like this. And watch Goff's eyes, just like we said. Motion across, he looks left, comes back middle, wants to hit that spot route. You can see he wants to throw that thing, wants to pull the trigger, but then he's like, oh, wait, this linebacker isn't taking that. Okay, now Kendricks has dropped back out, got over there. Cornerback sitting over top, so now I got to pull Murray. You see this quick peek right, pulled Murray, and then hit Sam Laporta. Now, I don't even know if he was trying to pull Kenneth Murray with this quick peek, or if he was trying to maybe move Eric Kendricks and hit this spot route still, and maybe just give himself some room to fire this pass in there, and maybe it was like, okay, I'm feeling the pressure, that's not open there, I'm just going to go fire this out there because I can see Kenneth Murray is still peeking. I'm just going to fire it to him because I can see him. But regardless, the O-line gave him time to do that and find another answer. Everybody takes it away. There's that little peek late, and then he's able to come back late and put it on Sam Laporta. Laporta, reliable hands, catches it, first down, game over essentially because Riley Patterson is going to do it. So with that being said, man, the offense was creative. The offensive line was dominant. Amon-Ra St. Brown said, hey, I can go win if you need me to win, and that's exactly what he did. multiple different alignments there. Goff was on point. He was accurate. We got the ball out fast, and everything really came together for the offense in this game, man. It is fun to see. Now, this isn't the best defensive football, but it was the top 10 rush defense coming in. We ran for 200 yards. I believe it was 200 yards exactly against them, over 6 yards per carry, right? This was not a great pass defense coming in. Lions did their job. They're 23 of 33 for Goff, 333 yards, I think it was, passing the football. No interceptions, a lot of first read hitters, and we found answers for it. So a lot of things to me came back to the offensive line, dominating pass pro and run blocking, but at the same time, schematically they're on point. Goff was on point. Saint was on point. They were on point. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, Prop, for watching, and I'm out.